Alright, so just making a video today about our good mates at Channel 9. They're at it again with drumming up the fear. They can drum up fear better than any other news company that I can think of. For the second time in a week, they've posted a nonsense, totally bogus story about sharks and shark attacks. But this is just about this one particular news story. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a watch of this video. We'll play it in its entirety so you know that I'm not being biased, that I'm not cutting out anything that they may have said to make sharks look good or anything, because there isn't anything in that. We're just going to play it in its entirety so you can see the full news program. But what we're also going to do along the way is we're going to stop it, and in certain parts I'll point out, one, what they're doing to try and control your mind, but also where they're actually factually inaccurate, and then we'll clarify what is actually the truth instead of this nonsense that they put out. But anyway, let's get to the video.
A terrifying.
We're only one second in, literally 1 second in, and they've already used the word terrifying. So it's only taken them 1 second to try and scare you here. So that's yeah, they're off the blocks quickly here, so let's keep going.
Close encounter with a gigantic
great white shark. Now, if we understand about sharks, that should frighten you less. If we understand about great white sharks, we're not going to be frightened, but they use the word gigantic to make it sound even scarier. But truth be told, it's actually the bigger white sharks are actually relatively safe to swim around. The juvenile great white sharks are more likely to actually come up and be more inquisitive and even give you a little test nip. The juvenile sharks, I won't say are aggressive or anything, they're just, you know, we're in their water, they think we might be food, they come up and suss it out. But the bigger ones have actually learnt that we're not food, and they're not as interested in people, and there are far fewer incidences with the larger sharks. Most of the incidences do occur with the juvenile great whites. So gigantic is less scary, if anything. But anyway, let's continue.
great white shark caught on camera by two Queensland fishermen who feared for their lives.
Feared. So we're only 9 seconds in, and they've used 3 buzzwords to try and make it scary. There's a terrifying encounter with a gigantic shark who the fishermen feared for their lives. Not even 10 seconds into this, and they're already even giving us a trifecta of fear. But they're just telling us that. So far I haven't actually heard a fisherman say he was scared. He's just telling us that. So again, they're throwing in their own opinion, their own judgment on something, so they're not remaining neutral at all. So, poor journalism. Let's continue.
The predator circling them from below before attacking their small boat.
Hear the way he said circling. That's a shark being cautious. That's a shark actually being concerned of what we are. That's why sharks, they will do a circle, because they're not quite sure. They don't know, especially humans, we're a bit weird. We're not part of their environment, so when something's odd to them, they will circle it, because they're trying to actually keep their distance from us. So again, that's nothing to be afraid of. The shark is just curious at this point, going, what's that? Is it food? Is it not food? I'm not sure. And then what did he say? Before attacking them. No, didn't attack, and we'll get into that, why it's not an attack. So we're only 14 seconds in now, and they've used another 2 pieces of phrasing to try and keep you scared. What are we at? We should actually do a tally on this and how many times they try and scare us. What are we up to now? 5 in 14 seconds. So we're averaging less than 3 seconds before they try and scare you again. Anyway, let's go.
10 kilometres off the Sunshine Coast, a 5-metre great white shark circles underneath a boat smaller than itself, when suddenly it swims straight towards Jade and Grace.
Suddenly it swims towards Jade and Grace. The shark is moving incredibly slow. If you've seen a shark actually coming in to hunt a seal or anything like that, they parent. If they know it's food and they're hungry and they want that food, They're incredibly fast fish, and this thing's just cruising in because, like we said, he's doing the circle. He's a bit curious, so what they do is they circle around things, and they're not a bit sure. If they're still wondering, is this food or is it not, they'll approach it with caution, so not rush in and attack it. They come in with a lot of caution because the shark knows that it could be in danger too if it does anything to the wrong thing. You know, if it approaches something too quick and that animal fights back on it, then it can get injured too. So they're actually approaching with a lot of caution. And it didn't swim towards Jade and Grace. They're not in the water. Swim towards the boat. It's sussing out what the boat is. And also let's not forget that these people are out there fishing. So when you're fishing in the open ocean, surprise, surprise, there's sharks around, but also fishermen are putting in a lot of bait and fish guts and bits of ends of fish. They don't take the bits of fish home that they don't want. They throw all that back into the ocean. They're cutting up fish for bait, throw the bits in they don't need, and that attracts in little more fish that target fish that they're trying to catch. It's all a part of fishing. So obviously, them bigger fish are going to see that and be interested and want to come in. And that's all that's happened here. Is the bigger fish has smelt the food and gone, all right, there's food over there, but it's seen the boat. It's a little bit unsure, so it's cautiously doing some circles, and now it's cautiously come in. Didn't rush towards them, doesn't even know they're on the boat. It's just seen the boat, and it's made impact with the boat, not them. It's not at all interested in the people. Anyway, let's keep going.
Whoa! 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 He just bit my boat! He just bit my boat!
Look how excited this guy sounds. Does that sound like someone who's terrified? He's excited. It's like, whoa, whoa, he just bit my boat. Like, he's got his camera out. If you're terrified, you ain't filming shit. You're like, he's not terrified. You can clearly see by the excitement in this dude's voice that he's excited to see that fish. He's not terrified. So they lied to us before.
It doesn't end there, as the predator continues to stalk them from below.
Predator continues to stalk them from below. It is a predator, fair enough. So a human being, so is them. Or actually, did you know that a caterpillar that eats leaves is also a predator? Because a plant is a living thing, so the definition of a predator is something that eats another living thing. So predator, it sounds scary, but it's not actually that scary of a word. It just means something that eats another thing, which pretty much every single living thing in the world is a predator of some sort, other than parasites, pretty much, that get in and don't kill their host most of the time. They just like a mozzie will suck its blood out of you and piss off. So we don't call that predation, we call that parasitism. But anyway, let's go.
Half an hour to an hour.
Oh yeah, and then what did he say? And stalked him, did he say? Let's go back to that.
It doesn't end there, as the predator continues to stalk them from below.
Do you see what this fish is doing at the moment? He says stalk them from below. It's actually swimming away. Swimming away from them. That's a shot of behind the shark. Probably is just doing another circle like they do, but it's come in for a test bite. And now it's... What they'll do is this shark's just confused at this point about what it is. You can tell by its behaviour, if you understand shark behaviour, that at this point it's just inquisitive of what's going on. It's certainly not stalking the people. But what do you think? They got home and they're going to have a shower and they look through the window and the shark's there peeping, ha ha, I'm stalking you. Like, oh God, man, that's just another fear word. I've lost count already. I've already lost count. Try and do it again when I edit. But anyway, let's go. Let's keep watching this comedy show.
And it just circled the boat for probably like half an hour to an hour, the whole time we fished it. I was a little bit worried at first.
I'm not there to say for sure, but circling it for half an hour to an hour, he's telling a fisherman's story.
I was a little bit worried at first, but yeah, it was pretty crazy.
I was a little bit worried at first, but yeah, nah. Okay, I've been on the news many times before, and they would have sat there and had a good 5-10 minute conversation with this dude. And he probably said a number of things like, oh, and in the end we weren't scared. I don't know, I'm not going to speculate on what was said, but what I do know the news do is they look for those certain sound bites. And they do it to me all the time because I try my best to paint snakes in a positive light when we're on the news. And they'll always ask me trick questions. Oh, is that type of snake venomous? Or what's the most venomous snake? And I'll try and answer. And I'll go, so say for example, if they say, is that snake you caught? And they're talking about a specific one, venomous or something. And I'll try and say something like, yes, it is venomous, but snakes are very reluctant to bite. They usually only bite when they're harassed by people. They never put the second part of the sentence in there. You just cut to a short and go, yes, it is venomous, and then to the next bit. Okay, so they're always looking for that sound bite to make it fear, and that's what they've done here. As soon as this dude said, oh, I was a bit worried at first, that sentence itself is saying, that's a double-edged sentence. That I was a bit worried at first also implies I wasn't worried later once I realised that we're not in any danger. But they've just taken that sound bite because you had the word worried. I was worried. That's what they want you to hear. So more fear.
The frightening encounter happened midday Saturday.
Frightening encounter. Again, did the fella himself say he was frightened? No, he said I was a little bit worried at first. That's not frightened. A little bit worried was his exact words. Frightened is totally different. A little bit worried is like, oh shit, I can't find my keys. And I hope I can get to the shops later. Frightened is, holy shit, my house is burning down and we're all going to die. There's a drastic spectrum there.
Jaden and his friend were fishing for snapper between Caloundra and Mooloolaba. When they got a sinking feeling, they weren't alone.
Seen a big black shadow at the front of the boat. Seriously thought it was a baby whale at first sight, but yeah, it was a monster great white.
Something he'd never...
They've taken that soundbite. Monster great white. It was a monster great white.
Something he'd never seen in years of fishing, but his attempt to get a better camera shot placed them in peril.
I threw the GoPro in.
His attempt to get a better camera placed them in peril. In peril is like, yeah, there's like no hope. It's utterly hopeless. Very like something that's perilous is just like, yeah, like you're stuck out. You're out like bushwalking and you're falling down a cliff and you've broken your leg and you've been crawling for weeks and there's no one around and you're dying and you're starving. That's peril. Putting a GoPro into the water is completely safe. It's completely safe. Even if a shark takes your GoPro, you're just going to lose your GoPro. No peril at all. Didn't place anyone in peril. That's complete and utter nonsense. It's a lie, and again, it's another word just to make you afraid of sharks.
I threw the GoPro in the water and I was holding it, and he must have spotted it and just come straight towards it.
That part's partially true. He probably did spot the GoPro and come towards it. Again, it's a weird thing in his, they're fishing, so the shark knows there's food around, and a GoPro, a camera lens, flashes, you get the light reflection coming off it. So anything that's flapping around, so you'll notice when you see fish flap around, you'll be looking down in the water and you hardly see the fish. The fish look dark, and then when they sort of turn to the side and the light hits them, and you see that flash. So cameras do the exact same thing. So yeah, the shark may have seen that, but he didn't go, there's someone's GoPro, I'm gonna smash it. He's just gone, oh, is that a fish? Can I eat it? So he's come over to check it out, and of course once he realises it's not a fish, he's not going to be interested in eating it at all.
Just the slow motion of the jaws actually opening and going to attack the side of the boat, it was crazy.
So number of things there. The slow motion of the jaws opening, that is again the sign of a shark being cautious and careful into what it's doing, not a shark attack. It's doing a test run, so when it comes in cautiously like that, if it was there to hammer you, bang, man, it's not gonna be slowly over. It's not gonna, I'm just gonna eat you. I'll just be nice about it though and gradual. So the fact that they've even mentioned it was slowly happening shows it was a cautious shark, not an aggressive shark. Now, what else did they say
The
here?
motion of the jaws actually opening and going to attack the side of the boat, it was crazy.
Attack the side of the boat. Again, they've used that soundbite where she says attack. She might perceive it as attack because she doesn't know anything about sharks, but that's not a shark attack as we've been establishing. And the other reason you can tell that this shark is not actually interested in feeding at this point, or he's totally just trying to work out what it is you watch when this shark actually does bite the, pardon me, when this shark does actually bite the side of the boat, it does something very noticeable to people that know sharks that these people have not picked up on. Now, when sharks actually come in for the kill, they protect their eyes. So they roll their eyes back in the back of their head. So if anything goes to get their head, their eyes are actually protected. And you'll see that this shark does not do that at all. It leaves its eyes wide open, which means the shark at this point trusts that it's completely safe and not in any danger. So this is not a shark attack at all. This is a shark test bite.
And while some fishermen are known to exaggerate the size of their catch,
no rolling of the eyes. So this shark is not attacking a single thing here. And these are when we start to understand shark behavior, we start to learn these things. So fair enough, if a shark's test biting your leg, that's a dangerous situation to be in. But at this point, if you understand shark behavior and you're in the boat and the shark's doing that, you could honestly pat that fishy on its little nose at that point. He's just a curious fish trying to work out what's going on.
It's going to be a great story to tell, that's for sure.
Jaden has the scars to prove it.
Well, that's what the great white did to me.
Jaden has the scars to prove it. It's on his boat, not on him.
Well, that's what the great white did to me boat. Holy
Cam Inglis, 9 News.
Cam Inglis, I'm a wanker. So that was it, and that was honestly terrible. I'm not sure how many times they tried to keep people afraid there, but that was just absolutely piss poor journalism. It's not even journalism, it's complete propaganda, and it's things like this. Whoop. Still got the next video rolling. So it's things like this that actually make people afraid of sharks, because people trust their news to be telling them facts. So when they see something like that, they walk away feeling so much more frightened of these animals than they did before, and then they support things like drum lines and shark nets and all that kind of nonsense, and we're having a detrimental effect on our marine ecosystem because of people like Cam Inglis and companies like Channel 9. And this is why it's incredibly important that we don't even watch that crap. We need to, if we're gonna, especially if we want to learn anything about sharks, listen to marine biologists, listen to people that actually work with sharks. There's a myriad of videos out there now of people that do dive, that are shark divers and shark experts, that will show you them actually interacting with these animals in a perfectly safe way. There's a great YouTube channel, I cannot think of the name at the moment, but is it Malibu Sunrise? Malibu's, I don't know, I'm having a mental block here, but great channel of a dude with his drone, and he's always filming the sharks from the drone, and he's got so much footage of great whites coming up behind people, surfers and swimmers and boogie boarders, and they have no idea that the shark is even there, and the shark does his circle thing, comes in, has a look. Once he realizes it's not food, he turns around and goes away. And that's what happens most of the time. So this one only got a little bit more curious because it 100% knows there is food in the water. They're fishing, they've got fish bits in the water. The shark knows there is fish, so it's biting things to go, what's food? And once it's bitten the boat and worked out that it isn't food, it's left the situation. So yeah, terrible, 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 terrible effort by Channel 9, and they should be utterly ashamed of themselves, and Cam Inglis should hand in his resignation today, because he alone, him and Channel 9 and everyone else that makes stories like this is responsible for people being killed by sharks and people killing sharks and all our marine life that's being. And the reason why I say that is because people do stupid things when they're around sharks. So because they panic and they freak out when they see one and they flap around, that makes them act more like a wounded seal or something like that. And sharks are going after things like that. So when people see sharks, they go, ah, and freak out and try and swim away. And that's the worst thing you can do. If they were actually educating people about what to do is if you are swimming and a shark confronts you, stand upright so the shark can see that you're not a fish. And usually that's enough to make it leave you alone. If it comes in, you can usually just actually push the shark away on its snout, keep a solid arm, and just guide the shark away. And the shark will realise, hang on, this thing ain't food. and most of the time will just completely leave you alone. As soon as you start swimming the opposite way and flapping around like an injured seal, you're going to get yourself minced because you're doing everything to convince the shark that you're food. And people act that way because they panic, because they see news reports like this. So Channel 9, I'm putting it to you that you are directly responsible for the death of people in this country and around the world that are victims of shark attack. It's you directly are responsible for those things because of nonsense like this. And Cam Inglis, you are killing people. You are killing our turtles and our dolphins and all the other marine life that gets caught in shark nets. And you shouldn't be allowed to put out this nonsense and this crap to the world. And that's why I'm making this video, to try and put out the facts. Anyway, hope you've hung around to the end and hope you've learned something. Or if you already knew this, then thanks for supporting us anyway. Spread this around. Get as many people as you can to hear the truth about these poor innocent animals that are being portrayed as something that they're not. They're really nothing to fear. I guarantee just about every single one of you, if you frequent the beach, if you go to the beach often in your life, sharks have come up and sniffed you and sussed you out and then taken off. I guarantee that. I guarantee that. And how many of yous get eaten? Right? In this country, it's worked out to be less than 2 a year in Australia. So, and worldwide, it's about 5 people, 6 people worldwide. That's not enough of a number to freak out and start killing everything in the ocean. Especially when you could, if you really don't want to get eaten by a shark, don't go in the ocean. Go to a goddamn swimming pool or a lake or something. Not a saltwater lake that leads to the ocean, you get sharks in there, but anyway, you get the cut of my jib. If you're really that worried about it, don't go into their home. So, in this 1 minute and 49 second, so 109 second piece of footage, they've frightened you, what I worked out to be at least 42 times. That works out to be every 2.5 seconds that they've actually frightened you. Every 2.5 seconds. So to break it down, you can see the timestamp and you can go through and check yourself. So as we said, in the very first second, they've used the word terrifying. Now, some things I didn't touch on that I've picked up on as I've gone back through. Let's work it out. So, we've got terrifying. We've got close encounter. They're both phrases of fear. We have gigantic. Then we have the actual word feared. Then we have predator. Circling from below. Below might not sound that scary, but the whole phrase itself, predator circling from below. The whole thing has a sinister connotation to it. Now, at the same time, this is the intro piece that old mate's saying, and at the same time, they're using the footage of the shark biting the boat. That's also to evoke fear because you're actually visually watching it bite the boat. So while he's saying all these scary things, they're showing you a scary thing as well. So then when it gets into it, we have at 11 seconds, attacking their small boat. Again, a sentence, small might not sound like a scary word, but it is because it's trying to make the shark seem bigger and more frightening. So they're attacking their small boat. 5 minutes in, actually, I didn't put this in, but you could even mention the part where they actually mentioned that they're off the Sunshine Coast because they're trying to, anyone that lives near there, they're trying to evoke fear that, oh, there are sharks in your water, near you. So I probably should have actually put in that one as well. But I've let that slide a little bit. The 5 meter, they're trying to make it sound big and scary. 5 meter great white shark. It doesn't matter what size the shark is, the shark's a shark, really, isn't it? But they're trying to make it sound bigger and scary. And as we established, the bigger one's actually not that bad. Whether it is actually 5 meters or not, too, is debatable. But, you know, we're only looking at footage with nothing to scale it off, so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. But it didn't look like a 5 meter great white. Anyway, great white circles the boat smaller than itself. Again, trying to depict this big monster that's going to get you, sort of thing. At the 23 second mark, we have suddenly it swims towards Jaden Grace. 23 to 30, we have the bite footage for a second time. 30 seconds to 36, it bit me boat, it bit me boat. They're using that sound bite because it's talking about biting. So there's another fear tactic. And then it didn't end there. that's trying to say, oh, look, we're still in danger here. We're still in danger. You know, here we have at 38 seconds, the predator. The predator obviously sounds scary, even though we've established it's not really scary, but that word sounds scary to most people. Continues. The continue is, you know, saying that we're not quite safe yet. We're still in danger. To stalk. Predator continues to stalk. So 3 words out of 4 in that sentence designed to scare. And then again going on about the circling, which we've established is actually it being cautious, not it being aggressive. But anyway, using circling in a soundbite this time. Then we have worried at 46 seconds. He was worried. Worried is a scary word, isn't it? And then it was pretty crazy as well, he mentions in this soundbite that they've used from him. 52-second mark, we have frightening. Oh God, now that's definitely a frightening word because it's actually the word frightening. So frightening encounter. And again, they've used the bite footage for a 3rd time. Then a sinking feeling they weren't alone. That whole sentence has the premise of that, you know, we're still in danger here. There's still danger around, so we're not safe. Then in 110, monster, the soundbite where he said monster. So trying to scare you because we're all scared of monsters. Remember, they live under your bed ever since we're kids. We're scared of monsters. And then at 117, the notorious peril remark. Oh, they're in peril. With that GoPro being in the water. And then at 122, straight towards it. That was another soundbite. But yeah, straight towards it, implying like it's attacking, it's coming at you. Oh, watch out, it's coming straight towards it. And again, we're using that bite footage again for a 4th time. Then 128, the most scary word we can think of when we're talking about sharks, jaws. Dun, 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 dun. So jaws opening was used in a soundbite. And they also, during that soundbite, they also said attack and crazy. And that doubled up. So straight from using the bite footage, they've used it straight away again. And bite footage number 5. And then we have at 140, scars. Now scars, no one wants scars. Scars are always bad, aren't they? So scars to prove it. That's just fear-evoking language. And then we have footage of the boat damage. That's just designed to say, look what a shark can do to you. Oh, you're in danger around them. And then we have, at the minute 47, 2 seconds to go, they decided to show us the bite footage again for a 6th time. That's overkill. Yeah, and all of these words that they've chosen to use all evoke fear in some way, you know? So they've, that's 40. And if we count Sunny Coast, mentioning the location to get the residents scared, that'd be 41 actually, times in a minute and 49. So in 109 seconds, that's 41 scares. And they've done a few other things that are hidden by putting an emphasis on all of the words. So every time you go, terrifying close encounter with a gigantic great white shark who made them feared for their lives. They do it the whole way through. Yeah, so every time there's a fear word there, they put an emphasis on it, because if you emphasize it, we're going to make it sound even scarier again. And what they also do is a little trick of using slow motion. So when you use slow motion, that often makes things seem a little bit more frightening than what it is. You get to see the mouth open of the shark a bit longer and all that, and more teeth and this, that. So by using the slow motion, it's actually designed to make you feel afraid. So, wow. How many times have they tried to scare you? Not one part was about shark conservation or why sharks are important for our oceans or anything good about sharks. It was every single sentence was portraying them in an evil manner, in a dangerous light, like you have something to fear out there. So this is ridiculous. This is utterly ridiculous. And Channel 9 should be absolutely ashamed of himself.